Welcome back. I'm going to officially call this one the 100th episode because this is the 100th episode of actual, right turn garage TV. The very first episode that I was referring to in the last video, that was actually called Todd TV that I was going to do years ago, and I just kind of scrapped it, which I think I'm actually going to bring it back and do something else. I don't know what to call it though. Anyway, that's another story for another day. So what was it, urethane primer that we painted on this thing? Yep, we are sanding. Now, I want to tell you this. If you use this particular primer, you're going to have to sand wherever you sprayed it. Why is that, you say? Because this actually has a body filler in it. And it's really, really orange peelish if you don't. I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but it does not have the, it don't have a smooth finish, if you will. I mean, smooth-ish, I guess. But, which brings me to my next point. Make sure you do the test spray that I didn't. Your test spray will show the pattern. I show it in my painting the Sunfire Bird, how to test for your pattern. You test it on a piece of cardboard. If not, go back and check that one out. But it was my first paint job. I watched hundreds of videos, okay, probably 10 videos, and talked to quite a bit of many people. I didn't take my own advice this time because it's primer. I didn't think it mattered. It does matter, especially if it's an older gun. It's been sitting for however long it's been since I painted the Sunfire Bird. And let me just get to the point. See this? See where all of this magicalness is happening? One, that's a good thing, because what's happening is I'm getting a smooth surface. It's all even. This was higher than this. Get what I'm saying? I'm keeping my sander flat. Again, do not sand with your bare hands. That's bad juju. So, if you do not spray with a clean gun, I hope you guys can see this. Do you see that? Those are daggone primer streaks. Yes. And they are all over this door, this fender, and I hope that is it. I really hope that's it. I think that's all I got there, because my goodness, generally this would be almost your wet stage sand, but for this particular car, where I had more blemishes than what I was really comfortable with, I'm not wet sanding yet. And the reason why is I want to go over this whole car with my hand and sand this sucker. I want to make sure it is completely flat. This down here where it has the, that takes a little bit more than 400 grit. You can if you want to burn through it. I kind of want to just eat it and go. I didn't go quite to 220 yet. I'm on 320 paper, I think. And that seems to be cutting it pretty good. So I'm going to continue on this particular door, and probably this fender where it's got the nice little runs on it. Anywhere where I got the runs, that's where I got the runs. Where I ran the primer, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that. Also, this would be a good time once you get things sanded. Let's just say, for argument's sake, you feel and you say, oh, low spot, because this is actually a low spot right here. I can slightly feel it, and that's where I went deep in the coat below it. Remember, what you do on bottom shows up on top. That is a key part to know. You can't just skip over and go to the next coat. If you throw primer up on top of this, now you have 2 coats of primer plus whatever's left down here. You can't just keep applying. That doesn't work. If you do, you're going to end up with a craptastic paint job. I don't know about you guys. I'm not doing all this just to have a craptastic paint job. I want a fantastic paint job. So, saying that to say this, we go over our lip here, and oops, we got a little spot right here we don't like. So, we're gonna take that back out. We're gonna apply a really skim coat of the Bondonese. Yep, I know. Real skim. We're gonna take her down. But we don't want this coming through, okay? I didn't know how thick this primer was gonna be, and honestly, I might be able to like sand this down just a little further, and we may be able to hit it just with this urethane primer and cover this, because it has a filler in it. I keep saying that, and I mean it. It actually has a filler in it. That's why it's so cheap. Yeah, it's not cheap. But anyway, so, I mean, honestly, it didn't come out bad on the mirrors and stuff. But you're going to notice whenever you sand, do you see these little porous type areas? See that? If you didn't sand this car, let's just say you said, you know what? Man, that looks pretty good. It's all gray. It don't look too bad. Let's just sand it. Let's just paint over top of it. One, you're messing up because it's not going to stick to this too well at all. Not without it at least roughed up. You're going to have to rough it up. And you're going to have to, the paint's got to have something to stick to. It has to. So, yeah. Another thing I noticed, and this is me learning, okay? Remember how I told you keep the Bondo nice and flat whenever you're mixing it on that cardboard, so you can avoid air pockets? I got air pockets right there. See those? Those right there are miniature, little teeny tiny air pockets, because I did not know at the time to keep it flat on the paper, or the cardboard rather, whenever I was mixing it. Lesson learned. So the good thing is I can rough that up, put a real light skin coat, fix that. And I also got one right here. See that? We're not, just imagine if you left that. Ugh, that'd make your stomach turn. Because I don't know what paint is where y'all are from, but the paint, not the urethane, or not the primer, not the other primer we bought, and not for the clear, but just the paint itself was like 725 bucks for the gallon. I don't know, that sounds like a lot to me, especially when I'm doing it myself. Dang it, I ran this side too on the fender. Let's hope we don't have it all over the doors, because that could make for a really super long evening. But another thing I wanted to tell you guys, last night I spent 4 hours sanding this trunk, this tonneau cover area, and this bumper. True story. Because I want it done correctly. You can't do it if you're rushing it. Okay? That means breaking out the old elbow grease and all of your daggone sanders that you can find. Also, I don't care if you're hand sanding or using the old DA. Get you one of these. These are cheap enough. This one's from Harbinese Freight. It was like 15 bucks. Even if it was 30, it's worth it. Because it has these filters in here. And guess what? That crap that's in that filter could be in your lungs. No car's worth dying for. You know, that car right there is my dream car. I don't want to die fixing it. Especially for the next owner to go, man, this is a nice car, boy. Ding, you know. No. I want to enjoy it. So protect yourself, protect your lungs, get one of those. You know. Another thing I kind of made a boo-boo on. I should have taped these up. Thank God there's grease in them. But, you know, I kind of like primered my light bulbs. Yeah. So the good thing is she's getting all brand new tail lights. Brand new. No expense spared because I painted my primer. But you know, you can cover that up with some tape. Save yourself a little bit of time, a little bit of money. FYI, if you're bored and you think that's important, because it is. Let's see what else. Okay, so what I'm sanding this with to start with is roughly 220. I did it by hand for a long time, and then I did it by hand with a 400 grit. Now, after the 400, I'm going to feel confident enough to more than likely wet sand this. I'm going to start with 1,000 and see how that feels. I mean, if she's, can you hear that? Yeah, that is not smooth. But you hear this. Oh, that's yeah, that's pretty smooth. That's baby's butt smooth right there. So you can use 400. On my DA, I cranked the lever down to about half kilter right here. And the reason why is I don't want to burn through all of my work that I've done here. That doesn't make any sense to lay the stuff down, then burn through it, does it? No, not at all. So that's what we're doing tonight. And we're going to keep on keeping on. Don't get in a rush now. I know you feel like you want to because I want to, but I can't. I've spent way too much time and way too much money of my own to be out here busting my butt, not sleeping, and to do this thing half-cheeked. It doesn't make any sense. So I'm gonna crank up the trailer park, boys. It's on the old idiot box there, and we're going to get back to work, and we're just going to keep on keeping on. But I'm going to show you just basically what it should feel like, and wet sandpaper. I'll show you a little trick on that one too. All right, so just give me like, I don't know, a day or 12, and we'll have this all done. All right. I'm telling you, you might want to make sure you got like an air sander of some sort, because if not, you're gonna have forearms that Popeye can't compete with. I ain't even kidding you. So I should have said this to you guys. Let's just say, for argument's sake, you can't tell if you got a high spot or a low spot. I'm going to refer to this spot right here. You're going to have to trust your hands rather than your eyes in this. Now, if you feel it high here, where was it? I ended up sanding up here, and it actually made this hole flush, because I remember now, this thing had like a this kind of polyurethane type primer, pretty thick right here, and I dug down to get all that nastiness out where it was real porous. So if you sand above, now don't just stay in this spot, or else you're going to have low spots over here. Sand this way, this way, this way. See if that doesn't get your spot out, especially if you have underlayers. Underlayers meaning more than one. See, we have like a yellowish primer, that could be a body filler, and then red primer, gray primer, black paint. We got, if the colors of the rainbow were that color, but they're not. Anyway, so I'm just saying, sometimes you go from there to there, come across, and you want to do an X or something, triangle type pattern. That way, so you don't dig ruts in, or grooves, what have you. Because if you just sand right here where my fingers are, now you created a high spot here and a low spot there. You get what I'm saying? So on this particular stage, before you get to the wet sand, trust your hands rather than your eyes. Now, I have been working on this daggone door for an hour because somebody used a gun that kept on clotting up on him and just kept spraying because it'll sand out. Let me tell you, look at this. I mean, it looked like Al Capone sneezed all over the floor. Are you kidding me right now? And all because, and the good thing is, all of this stuff like ran down the door. So if I don't get it, it's not a big deal. It's just gonna make it look like, you know, my doors were rotted out and I just bondoed the crap out of them. And the even more gooder part is, it's on this fiberglass piece here that you can't dig too deep in, or else you'll definitely cause grooves in it. Thus, another reason why we cranked our sander down to, you know, like half throttle. That way, so you don't go full tilt and really dig into that. So on this particular stage, guys, before you go to wet sand, I think actually, since this thing's kicking my booty, I think I'm gonna stay with 320 sandpaper throughout this sand, just because it's taking it down a little quicker, which is a real big positive for me. And I have runs that's just, I mean, whew, it's they're ragu, they're in there. So I think I'm gonna stay with this 320 unless I get like really bad runs. Yeah, does that sound right? Unless the car has really bad runs, not me, the car. If it has, you know, with the paint primer. Anyway, so the good news is you'll have to clean absolutely all this dust up, blow it out of your shop and all that good stuff. You know, wet the floor, like really clean it up, because let's just say, for argument's sake, you would decide to spray in here. Like, let's just say we wet sanded and we're getting ready to paint this mug. Now, we wiped it down with our prep all, right? But there's one big problem. See all that? Well, you know, there's not only paint that comes out of the end of your, it's a lot of air pressure, right? Not a lot, but I mean enough. It'll pick up that crap from the floor, especially when you're down here hitting these rockers and what have you, to pick it up and throw it all over your brand new paint. Don't be that guy, okay? I'm not going to be that guy, I'll tell you that. We're washing this floor. Shoot, we might even wash this car. I don't know. Just saying, it's real. It's really real. But we're going to absolutely clean the absolute whatever out of this thing, the poopy. We're going to clean the poopy out of him. So that's my little tidbit on the little high and or low spots. You know, if you remember digging into a spot, that means it's going to be higher here, right? So it might do you justice just to come this way a few times. And we might have to use like 220 to dig in there just a little bit more. And that's fine, because we're throwing another coat of primer on this. Not this type primer, but the sealer primer. And whenever we get to that stage, hopefully in about a week and a half, maybe before then, I'm trying. Bear with me, fellers and fellettes. So hopefully that'll work. I'm actually going to save the wet sanding for another video just because of time. And yeah, it's a ticking, because it's like 10. Yeah, it's already 10. I started at 8 and I've got door. Actually, I did the quarter too, so I've got, you know, nearly 2 whole parts done of the whole car. So, you know, maybe I should stop talking and just do it. You think so? But, you know, I feel like I need to inform you guys of what I'm finding out. That way, so you don't repeat my big dummy moves. Also, if you're wanting to save some sandpaper in this particular stage, this stuff right here, you can get it at body shops, whatever. It's the maroon or burgundy Scotch-Brite pads. This is in between like 320 and 220 type paper. This, I mean, you can rough stuff up, and you know, it's definitely not a finisher. Now they sell a gray one that's more of the finer type, but nonetheless, with this car, we're finishing it in 1,000 at least before we use the other coat of primer. And then I have up to 2,000 grit on the on the other sandpaper, wet sandpaper, before we throw some paint down. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself, so I think tonight, kids, I hope this was a decent lesson for y'all. It's definitely been an eye-opener for myself for whenever we go to the Gold Chariot. Whew. And that sucker really needs some work, so that's going to be a learning experience in itself. It'll be worth it. So I'm gonna finish out the door. Hopefully this fender, and that's probably about it for tonight. I'm not gonna lie, because this is very, 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 very time consuming. But it's going to be worth it in the end, because we're going to have a mirror paint job. And you know, for around here, we're going to use nothing but our hand sander block, that is this little thin feller, because it can get in there. Oh, I know what I was going to show you guys. Do you remember me telling you about the paper saver? Well, check this mug out. This is your paper. This is neater than a pocket on a t-shirt, and I ain't kidding you. So if I can set this sucker down some way, will you fit in there? Nope, sure won't. Will you just sit? Easy, easy. Okay, there we go. So let's just say, there you go. Pretty much new piece of sandpaper. So for the like $3 or $4 this was at Harbor East Freight, absolutely worth it. I would suggest getting one, because it unclogs all your paper, and as you see, it like didn't even wear that hardly. I've used it all evening. I'm pretty darn happy with it. So it'll get that stuff, you'll see what I mean, that clogs up your paper. It'll take that stuff right off. Just fire it up and let her eat. And absolutely keep your mask, you know. Don't sand like this, because then, you know, you're going to get stuff in your filters, and that's not safe, and it's not gooder. So kids, we're going to wrap this up tonight. Hopefully we'll be throwing that other primer on really soon, because old dad's ready to paint. I'm ready to throw down some old 2-part paint. You know, we're ready to just let this old girl shine like a brand new penny. I'm ready. I know you're ready. And then, not gonna lie, we still have stuff to do to this car. We still have to tighten the steering column. I got the tool for it this time. And put the exhaust on it. And we might have to switch some gauges on the gauge cluster. But that's obviously at least like 4 episodes away, maybe 5. Hopefully it comes really quick, you know? And then we'll drop it off and get the top put on them, and bada boom, bada bang, da bang, we got another summer car, baby. And another work car. Yeah, that's right. Oh, we're driving this mug. That's the only way you should have these cars. And if you're going to fix them up, just let them sit. It kind of seems like a waste to myself, but different strokes, different folks, you know. Anyway, guys, that's enough of me chatting tonight, because I got tons of work to do, as you can see. And if you guys got any questions, hit me up. I'd appreciate it. And if you don't mind, just a real quick, you know, just subscribe, hit the like, and tell your friends about it. I'd appreciate it. Leave me a comment if you got any ideas whatsoever. Got big ears, man. I'll listen. So I appreciate it, guys, very much. And we'll see you next year. We'll see you guys next time here on Right Turn Garage TV. Y'all have a good one. It's getting a heck of a lot better.